Taught my first class in the communication department at Holmes Hall back in the early 1980s. Picture this. The class was full. We used to have classes on Labor Day, and it was over 90 degrees. I had an evening class, and I showed up at 5:30 or so, and it was close to 90 degrees in my classroom in Holmes Hall that held 50 people. There were 57 people assigned to my class. People were sitting down on the floor, along the side. It was a tremendously discouraging experience. We managed to make it through that. But in that time, I came to learn that Holmes can be very hot in the late summer, especially if you have a class that is in late afternoon or in the evening. One of the things I did in Holmes Hall that I thought was sort of unusual, I was teaching a professional speaking class. And one of the assignments was to be able to do an elevator pitch. In effect, an elevator pitch is the idea that you will describe what you can do or your concept to somebody whom you randomly run into in an elevator and be able to do it during the length of the elevator ride. We did it in the elevator in Holmes Hall between the second floor and the basement. It took a total of 18 seconds to go each way. Students, half the class was lined up at the top of the elevator, half at the bottom of the elevator, and they just took turns riding up and down, up and down. And every time the elevator doors would open, a student would get out, a new one would get in, and immediately give me the pitch. They found that very challenging assignment, especially when you put them in the elevator. 18 seconds. One of the other interesting things about Holmes is not in the building, but outside. If you go out on the southwest corner of the building, you'll find a tree with a plaque next to it. That was a tree that was planted several years ago to commemorate Professor Kate Madden, who had taught in the communication department. She had just recently retired and had a series of health issues and died very suddenly. Many of her colleagues and her students wanted to remember her, and the way they did it was they planted a tree, and that's sort of a fitting memorial for Kate. Her roots ran deep and she reached for the sky, and I think it really remembered her character.